Hey guys, all right. So I've put a lot of razor blades through my recent acquisition of a WR2 head from Wolfman. And so if you are into that, that's going to be the past, 15 videos or so. Right now, I'm going to switch and put some blades through one that I acquired shortly before that, a Feather AS-D2, a really mild shaver that a couple of the blades I've put in just haven't done very well on because of that mildness. It didn't match for my face. So let's put some uses through. I've had this guy soaking for I don't know, 10-15 minutes, and he is a Shavemac, and it's a Silvertip 2-band, as you can see. He's a German maker, and I think I'm pretty happy with this so far. I think the backbone is probably about where I like it. So I'm just interested to see where the tips go at this point. The first impression is that the tips aren't super soft, but they're not scratchy or anything like that at all. It's almost like I don't feel them as much. So we'll just see. We'll just see where they end up. It could be that this brush needs to be worked in some more. All right. The blade we're going to put in is one that is often very sharp for me, and so I kind of expect it to do pretty well in the Feather and Gillette Nacet, and this one's had about 5 or so uses. This is not my Marathon Nacet blade, as you can see from the lack of dots on the envelope, but here's what the blade looks like. And as a new guy, he does very well. So now, and then today is the 15th shave with my Stirling R4L, Responders for Life. It is Tom Ford Gray Vetiver scent, very much like Fine Accoutrements Fresh Vetiver. If you aren't able to pick up this one because it was a limited release, then you can get that Fresh Vetiver from Fine. It's actually a triple milled hard soap, so it'll last a very long time as well, and very inexpensive. All right, so I'm going to weigh the soap so I can get a measurement for today. All right, so this guy, 219 grams, and it's like a gram more than it was yesterday. So it's possible that my scale has some leeway there, but it's a digital scale. So hopefully not. It's also possible that water was added yesterday. Soap may have been taken away, but some water may have been added. So this will be my last shave because I think 15 shaves is pretty good. It should be good enough to do some math. And so what I'm going to do is, because I started out with a dry puck, I started out with a puck that hadn't been used for months. Okay, and so I'm going to let this sit kind of vented for maybe a week, and then I'm going to weigh it, give any of that water a chance to leave. Then we'll have a more accurate start and end value. All right. So 219, can you believe that? How about that? All right, I've already showed you all my stuff, so let's go ahead and load up this razor. So with the Feather, it's a typical 3-piece configuration. Put the blade on there, and as you can see, these rails right here will keep this blade perfectly aligned. I try not to touch the blade edges at all, anytime. Whether I'm moving it from the envelope to the razor, always grip it by the ends of the blade. Hey, somebody asked a question online about razors that covered the tabs, and I'll try to remember to find that and post that the AS-D2 is like that as well. All right, so just tighten her on down. This is a stainless steel razor from Feather in Japan, and it looks like maybe a great offering for a lot of people who have skin problems. They need a really mild razor for whatever reason they do, or just prefer a nice, smooth, comfortable shave. All right, I'm going to go ahead and load for 25 seconds with this brush because about 12 seconds is all I need to load from this Stirling Badger. It's a bulb shape, and so that could dig into the soap just a little bit more. It's also got more backbone, I believe, than the Shavemac, and so therefore I'm going to up my time just to make sure I get enough lather. I believe the last time I used this brush, I didn't do that. I didn't compensate enough. So in this case, it's better to overshoot. All right, I was thinking for a second there. So this guy holds a lot of water, several teaspoons, no doubt. Shake most of it out, and we'll just do that. What did I say? A 20-second load, 25 seconds. Let's go to 25 seconds just to cover the bases. And so since I started at 40 on my video clock there, I'll go to 05. Just kind of medium pressure. With these bristles, they're not actually splaying while I'm loading up like some brushes do. And there we go. That's 25 seconds of soap. Should be plenty to do the job. And that is often the case where a softer brush needs a little bit more load time than one that is firmer. It takes a little bit longer to pick up soap, but you know, and there's some people even that will relegate certain brushes, certain stiffness of brushes to certain soaps, like maybe boar brushes or really prickly badgers or stiff badgers to the hard soaps, and then the really soft stuff to creams. And if you just spend a few extra seconds, it all works out. All right, water on my face. Cool water these days, and this is hard water. And we're dealing with about maybe a day and a half of growth. Roger Quintero shave bowl. You can print one up if you have access to a 3D printer. Link to the files is in the video description. I at first thought I might not like this type of handle because when you're not as much grip as some of the longer ones I have in terms of ergonomics, you have to hold it a little more firmly with more strength and all that when you're lathering, when you're loading rather. Am I going to get the right word? When I am building the lather here. If you don't want to get your fingers soapy, soap will probably come up to this round area, but just holding this part right here gets to be a little bit of an effort. But I thought it would be more of a chore than it actually was. So I'm definitely going to give this guy a good evaluation, a good many uses. See if I get used to it. Because I just heard from a friend online last time I used this brush. He told me that Akim, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong. And he said that he had tried to re-knot a couple of Shavemacs before and advised great caution because he tried to steam the knot out, and I've done that before in some cases, but he said that the base of the knot is glued in with epoxy. Not only that, but there's like some cord or something wrapped around to help adhere everything together, and that he tried to kind of break the handle off of the knot, and it actually ended up breaking the knot. I mean, everything was just so secure in there that it was a lot of effort, and he ruined the knots in at least one case, trying to move them to different handles that maybe he liked better. So I'm really grateful for his advice, and I know that if I do end up wanting to move this guy to another handle, it'll be quite an effort. And I'll probably do some cutting with a saw first, and then just slowly work at it with my Dremel until I wear away all of the handle material. from the outside of the base of the knot. And that way I'm guaranteed not to bust open the knot base. So with this much soap, I may end up, going to 2.5 teaspoons of lather, maybe even 3, since it's been a while since I've lathered, since I've loaded 25 seconds. But I mean, the point is that I should still end up with just the same amount of soap, because I just had to load longer because of the types of bristles, and because, I mean, in essence, you still kind of want to pick up the same amount of soap as an existing ratio that you have enjoyed. So I may not go any further than 2.5. I've already got 2 in it. I'm going to make sure that I get a nice even mix here, and then I'll kind of look at the viscosity and feel it and all that stuff. Looks pretty good right now. You can see the peaks. Pretty firm lather. Look at the contours. I may want to add just a little more water. And that may be it. These dense brushes, I've found usually like to have a more creamy lather than just something really super hydrated and thin and slick, because their backbone really comes out, and the creaminess tends to hold back the backbone and maybe gives the bristles a chance to move around a little bit more. And without that, you kind of feel the backbone a lot more, and I don't like that. So I'll make sure that I don't overwater. I don't think this Shavemac is as dense as like that Stirling Finest, for instance, or maybe the Maggard SHD, or the Declaration, type knots. All right, why don't we use this guy? Let's do a pull here. Gather. The way I like to do it is gather a lot of the soap at the bottom of the bowl, and then pull up and just look at how it reacts. Medium length peaks, and then look at that long thick peak there. We turn it to its side, watch if it dips. Yeah, see, look, it's slowly moving. Sometimes you can look at the wall here and see if it folds over and collapses on itself. That's a sign of a really wet lather. But all soaps are different. You have different landmarks, different milestones that you want to observe for each soap, and you just kind of have to trial and error and memorize them, usually. Alright, so I'm going to jab the brush down in to work the lather into the center of the knot there. And then a little water on my face. Alright. And see, as we were mixing the lather, the round part of the handle here definitely got plenty of lather on it. The part where I was gripping didn't get as much. Oh yeah, this feels good. I like the backbone here. Not scratchy, not scritchy at all. Soft, definitely. The backbone's not poking me around, shoving my skin around. Because I have this goatee, I have to just do vertical motions like this a lot. And I think I'm more susceptible to the feel of that backbone. Other guys who maybe don't have goatees and can do, some don't even do this scrubbing type of motion right here. Some just kind of paint back and forth like this. And so a brush with strong backbone isn't going to be an issue for them, because it's almost an irrelevant thing for them, where, well, it's irrelevant during the lathering process, but where they enjoy it is where it picks up lather really quickly from the soap. Yeah, so I like this. This is feeling good. I think I've got the right level of creaminess for this particular brush. Yeah, I'm a fan. I feel like the backbone is still plenty enough to keep the bristles focused at my face. It's not letting it, it's not so floppy that it folds over in the bloom to where kind of the core of the knot is really what's scrubbing on me. And so that's the kind of backbone that I like. Yeah, big fan. This is really a very luxurious feel, very soft. And this is not a cheap brush. You know, there are definitely other cheap ones that I might like just as much, perhaps. I've got some Macedo brushes that are about $45 or $48 that I'd probably like just as, you know, almost as much. And they're delicious. I even have a Virginia Ching that the knot probably cost, you know, 20 bucks. And it feels great too. But I'd never really tried a Shavemac before. This is kind of my first one. Actually, I had tried one before. It was the D01 knot, and it was maybe a year ago. And I did not like it at all because apparently the D01 has lots of backbone. Too much for me, not interested. So I sold that guy. But I got this guy on a great deal. So I'm happy about that. Ooh, the Nacet feels good. Now with this feather razor, one of the issues is that a blade may feel very good. In fact, many of them will. But you need to check at the end of the shave with how well they cut. And that's kind of where you're able to make your determination as to whether that blade, you know, works well in that razor for you. This lather may be a little more dry than my usual. With this razor, it's just so mild. The blade is just kind of either even or recessed inside of the top bar and the bottom plate. And so most blades, you're probably not going to get too many rough blades with this razor. What you may get is blades that just don't cut you very well in certain areas. My trouble spot is right here, so that's what I'll be paying attention to. All right, well, we've got plenty of lather. So 25 seconds was a good measurement to make sure that I ended up with plenty of lather. Looks terrific. But I definitely can back off on that next time with this brush. We'll see how many passes are left over. This brush is also not going to give you brush burn. At least it won't for me. I've had a few that were not really scratchy, like my Stirling bore. It was, I wouldn't say it was soft necessarily. It definitely wasn't scratchy or scritchy or anything like that. But if I shaved with something aggressive, by the second or third pass of working the lather, it's possible that the lack of softness on those tips could stir up a little bit of irritation on that freshly raw skin. So, second pass now. And with this Nacet, I'm kind of not gonna know how well the shave is until the very end. Cross grain now on my cheeks. I think with this razor, the optimum shaving angle may be with the handle open. A little more than usual. And that means the blade then moves a little bit more towards parallel with the skin than usual. Handle angle often with mini razors is kind of set to about 30 degrees, 35 degrees, something like that. Now obviously you can shave with whatever razor you want at whatever angle you want. Especially with the more aggressive razors, because that blade is sticking out more. microscopically between the top cap and the base plate. If it's sticking out more, then obviously you have more play with what angle you want to use. And many people will want to, with an aggressive razor, ride that top cap with a little bit less pressure on the base plate there on the guard to get the shave they want. Comfortable, of course. So I do partial rinses between passes. I don't get all the soap off, but I do like to feel for the soap. Does it wash away quickly? And I can tell you that. Is it really slick, and does the rinsing process feel just luxurious between passes? It's something that I particularly enjoy, and with a nice slick soap you usually get. Some people don't even rinse between passes. And there we go. We just put on 3 passes of lather, and I've got probably 3 in here. I could probably do another 3, so I can back off in terms of this loading time. Don't need to do 25, that's for sure. Maybe back off to 15 for the next time. I like to do cross grain again on my face. Again, as usual, I'm getting nice, slick razor glide thanks to this soap. I did some calculations recently, and through the first 14 shaves of this little trial here, and assuming I don't lose too much weight in terms of water evaporation, I'm looking at about 0.4 grams per shave. And if you do the math, with Stirling giving you 5.8 ounces of soap per tub, which is so generous compared to so many other vendors, that it's going to take me over a year to go through a tub of Stirling at 0.4 grams per shave. Now, a lot of guys use up more than that. They're probably face latherers, and they end up wasting a lot of lather on that first pass, taking that concentrated lather and having it rinse down, and what's left on their brush then lowers with each pass. And that's just what they have to do as face lathers. So sometimes I've definitely seen people use 1.5 grams or even 2 grams per shave. I do have a goatee, obviously, but I've got a big head too, and so I kind of think that the goatee kind of turns me into more of an average sized head or face. All right, I am looking pretty good. So let me rinse and check out the result. I do kind of see some length left in a lot of the hairs down here. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Almost like a darker complexion, it feels like, than usual. So let me hit that with another pass. I did dry myself to accurately gauge the hairs, so let me throw back a little bit more water on there. Love the scent on this soap. Kind of getting used to it though. I'm kind of almost nose blind to it. I do smell and enjoy it during the shave, but I'm looking forward to switching to another soap and then be able to come back to it and smell it all fresh, you know. So now that I've had 3 passes here, I'm gonna be a little more, have a little more of an against the grain aspect right here, and just see if that, because with some mild razors I can actually do an against the grain pass sometimes. And indeed, right now this is against the grain in this zone right here. We'll see if that gives me any irritation. It doesn't feel bad now. Okay, there we go. That is a cut because I was able to actually go almost against the grain. Because of the mildness of this razor and the sharpness of the blade, I didn't get any irritation that I know of. Sometimes abrasion irritation will happen later on, but I don't feel anything right now. But because I was able to do that fourth pass in the neck area pretty much against the grain, I have ended up with a very close shave. Very happy with that. Just see the tips of the hairs, maybe one or two got missed, but not a big deal at all. Very happy with the closeness. And so maybe with other razors that aren't as mild as the Feather, 3 passes will get me there. With the Feather, maybe I add a fourth pass of against the grain on my neck, and that gets me to the same place. So you can pick which, if you like one better than the other. This is definitely a comfortable razor to use, and so that is a ding, a tick in its good column, in the pro column. Now, can I switch that third pass to maybe go against the grain instead of having to do the fourth one as against the grain? Well, we'll try that some other time, but that'll be a good question to have answered. So yeah, I ended up with plenty of soap. Very, very happy with the brush. This soap's consistency this time, the viscosity of it was just right for this brush to really shine and deliver a great feel on my face. Very, very nice. How much water total? 2.5 grams. And that's either exactly right, or maybe with this load of 25 seconds, I might have wanted to add just a little more water to water it down just a hair, but no complaints. So delicious. The R4L shines again. The Milksteak base is a new one from Declaration Grooming, and it's really new right now, a few weeks. And so I think maybe my next usage test might be with that one, to see how quickly I use it up with my shaving, and to be able to say. And what I like is the relevance or relative figures. Like chiseled face, I used up 0.5 gram per shave. Sterling, 0.4 grams per shave. And then to be able to then have a number for the Milksteak base from Declaration Grooming. I think that's neat to be able to see, and then I can predict how long a tub will last me, and that's a valuable piece of information to me, and I think to a lot of the other guys out there. We've got a lot of users out there who take like a tub of Milksteak or other Declaration Grooming products, Barrister and Mann, those sorts of things, and they can only make them last about 3 months. And some of these guys are $27. In a way, that's cheap, with just several dollars per month for soap. But if I can show 4 nice lathers, nice passes of lather per shave, and show that it lasts 8 or 9 months instead of 3, I think that's a great comparison for new shavers to see, that you don't always have to use it up in 2 months. These are guys that maybe are loading heavy, they're face lathering, so a lot of waste on that first pass, that sort of thing. So we'll see. Maybe it only lasts me 5 months, and so maybe I use 1 gram of soap if it's the Milksteak base versus 0.4 grams of soap per shave for Sterling or chiseled face. So that'll be interesting to see too. All right, I am starting to feel just a hint as my face is drying, a hint of tenderness, kind of in some of these areas that I went against the grain on, maybe kind of right around this area. But it's very light, and I'm super confident that a balm is going to fix that without a problem. All right, so the post shave for today is Sterling Balm Executive Man Scent. It's like Creed's Aventus. I did throw a few drops of water on my skin to help the balm to distribute nicely and evenly and without very much friction, so that my tender areas are not bothered. All right, good to go. All right, I'm super happy with this shave. So the interesting twist, I haven't tried going against the grain on my neck with the AS-D2, and so that may change the way a lot of the blades can work with this razor if I can do that. So we'll just look forward to that in the future. We'll keep trying this feather, putting other blades in it, and see what happens. I don't think there's anything else to report. So thank you for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I hope there's been something here that's helped you out. You take care.